Welcome back students for the UGC lecture series on lasers and their applications under Swayam portal. Today we are going to see something unbelievably fantastic, that is a laser fusion. Before I go into laser fusion, I must step backwards in time or at present to tell you why we are particularly interested in this topic. Right now, today in Chennai, the temperature is very high, unusually high. One of the reasons for being at very high in temperature, unusually high, is what they call climate change, global warming. Why you have a global warming? Simple and the most important reason is, throughout the world, people have been using variety of fossil fuel which heats up the engines and spews out gases like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide. They are all coming out from car engines and a big industrial, everywhere. You will get some kind of collection or a set of gases coming out most of the time. In textile industry or in medical pharmaceutical industry, they keep on coming out. That means the atmosphere is polluted by so many different types of gases. Out of that, CO2 is the most important, very high. About 300 or 400 years ago, when there was no industrial revolution, who were giving out carbon dioxide? Mostly animals. And what happened to those carbon dioxide? They were taken up by the plants, variety of plants, trees, greeneries, flowers, any kind of small plants. Everything took up carbon dioxide. They made use of carbon dioxide plus sunlight plus water, all these put together, they could prepare food. They prepare the food, a part of the food is given back to us as leaves or vegetables or fruits. Not only that, when they breathe like human beings, they have to take oxygen and they give out carbon dioxide also. That means for breathing, they take oxygen, they give out carbon dioxide. But for food preparation, they take a lot of carbon dioxide. They take a lot of more carbon dioxide than what they breathe out. That means whatever human beings like us or animals give out as carbon dioxide have been profitably, efficiently used up by the plants. That was about 500 years ago. After this industrial revolution, since industries are producing so much of CO2, there is an imbalance in nature. Then CO2 just goes up, it is a gas, it goes up and collects in the atmosphere, and after some time they form a cloud of CO2. Once they form a collective of CO2, what would happen is, that kind of cloud of CO2 may not be so visible, but it is always there, we can easily measure it. What happens is, the heat produced by the soil, when it goes up, when there is no carbon dioxide, that will go into the atmosphere and escape. But when there is a cloud of CO2, that will be reflected back. Because of this one, overall picture is, the globe will be slowly warmed up, slowly getting heated up. When it gets heated up, it is not that within a day or 2 days you will have a temperature from 36 degree to 39 degree. It will slowly go up over a period of 100 years. There would be an increase in average temperature of about 1.5 or 2 days, not more. Even then, this will upset the ecology. this is very touchy, very sensitive for the atmosphere. How it affects ecology, we can give one example. When the temperature increases even by 1 degree, the ice caps in Himalayas, in polar region, Arctic or Antarctic region, you must have seen in National Geographic or animals movies or documentaries, you would have seen that big chunk of glacier melts and just comes out as a water. When glacier melts and produces water, that kind of water, where will it go? It will eventually end up in there as some kind of sea. It will end up in the sea. Before it ends up in sea, it will keep on going through the rivers. That's the only possible way. It will go into the river. When it goes into the river, you will have floods, unexpected floods, unexpected rain, unexpected changes in the climate. Because of this one, you must have heard about recently unexpected big disaster was few months ago in Dubai, which was a arid desert. For years together, there will be very small scattered rain, but few months ago there was a heavy rain there and the city was floating in flood. This was something unheard of, unexpected of. That kind of dramatic change in the climate is supposedly produced by global warming. Global warming has upset the proper balance of nature. There are two things, two damages industrial revolution has suddenly done. One, carbon dioxide emission and heating on the overall atmosphere. Not only that, during all this preparation or manufacture, variety of trees were cut because they were being used as fuels. They were cut off so that a big jungle can be totally demolished to make big dams or big buildings. That means we have decreased the carbon dioxide absorbing sources. At the same time, we have increased carbon dioxide increasing sources. Increase in the carbon dioxide came because of the industries. Decrease in the absorption of carbon dioxide came because of felling trees or damaging the natures in Amazon or African jungles. This kind of ecological imbalance starting point is fossil fuel. Only because of the fossil fuel we are able to get coal or a petrol. That has put us into trouble. So, what we next step is we must find out some way of non fossil fuel, but at the same time some kind of energy source. Not only that, once we keep on digging out coal and petrol, after another 100 years, 200 years, we would have depleted all of them and we may not be able to get any more coal or petrol. In fact, the second point is not so bad, not so urgent as much as the global imbalance produced by industrial revolution, by the human beings on the ecology of nature. What it means is, both put together, what it means is we need alternate sources of energy, which are renewable sources of energy, which are not based on fossil fuel. That is all. This is the end goal. People have been employing different types of methods. One such method which is most promising is the solar energy. What I mean to say, sun keeps on producing enormous amount of light and heat. If there is some way where you can make use of that one, that would be perhaps ideal, because already sun keeps on sending energy. Whether you like it or not, whether you are angry with the sun or not, it is going to pour plenty of sunlight, and because of the sun only we were able to have some life on this earth, and that is why I am talking to you, you are listening to me. Those are well established facts. What is important is how effectively we would be employing or making use of the bounty of nature, particularly of the sun. This is the solar energy conversion into heat and electricity. That is a very big technological advances which are being pursued throughout the world, and it is in very great progress compared to what was there about 10 or 20 years ago. Solar panels are being introduced throughout the world, even in a third world country like India. Solar panels are very much used. People have started using it in their home. This is one step. Another one is the wind energy. The wind energy is, again, you do not have to do anything. Wind is there, which is always coming from one end to another. In a very big open spaces, you will have a wind, and if we can use proper rotor and windmill, it will always rotate it. When anything is rotating between a magnetic field, you will produce electricity, that is all. So, in this case, the energy produced by the pushing or the momentum of the wind is going to get converted into electricity. These are the two major sources that are going to replace the fossil fuel up to now. Is there any other possibility? Is there any other solution? Because of this kind of big question, people started using nuclear fission energy. Whatever I said so far is very well known. Almost about 150 years ago, people know about solar energy, people know about wind energy. They have been, in fact, using it for a very long time, even before the advent of industrial revolution or so much of science and technology. People know both. But after the industry, after the science and technology, the scientists came to know there is one more source of energy, that is a nuclear fission energy. Now, nuclear fission means, you must have studied in your college days and school days, heavy atoms like uranium, they split up. They keep on producing radioactivity. Not only that, they can be easily made to split up into two big chunks. I must now explain what is the difference between radioactivity and nuclear fission. Radioactivity means, imagine certain nuclei, heavy nuclei. The best example is uranium or polonium or thorium. There are some 5 or 6 of them. Now, they keep on producing, kicking out protons, neutrons or electrons. Sometimes, mostly they kick out alpha particle, beta particle or gamma particle. Alpha particle is what we say is a nuclei of helium that contains 4 nucleons, 2 protons and 2 neutrons. That particular small chip is thrown out for some reason, because in the nucleus of heavy atom there is some kind of fight, like the fight that goes in the politics, or the kind of fight that goes in the big galaxy. Remember, within the atom, within our human beings, within our animal kingdom, within in the galaxy, struggles are going on, problems are there, and some people are being kicked out, some people are damaged. That kind of chaos is always there. Within the chaos, we are able to get some order, and that is how human beings survive. Coming back to nuclear fission. Now, for heavy atoms like uranium, if you could make this radioactivity produce some kind of energy, very carefully controlled fashion, that is called fission energy. What we do is, heavy uranium-235, yes, if I remember 235, that is, if you could just bombard it with a neutron, slow neutron, the slow neutron will wriggle into the nucleus, and once it has gone, it will make a lot of chaos inside. Then the uranium nucleus will split up, not radioactivity, it will split up into two approximately equal smaller nuclei. It is something like what happens in political party. A big party is there, some enemy comes in, somehow managed to go in, and he splits the party into two approximately equal smaller parties. In a similar fashion, this happens in the heavy atom also. When this happens, enormous amount of energy is released. If you can make use of this energy, and if you make use of this particular technology very carefully, you will be able to produce sufficient energy so that that energy can be converted into a heat energy. Heat energy can be converted into, pushed into a steam, and that steam can rotate a generator, and that is how you get electricity, and that is how you get nuclear power throughout India and throughout the world also. This is nuclear stations. Example, Kalpakam. This is very classic example. But that question is a but. Whenever there is a nuclear reaction, everything is very safe. Only problem is, in case there is an accident, it will be a big disaster, because people will be usually exposed to nuclear radiation. This kind of anxiety was there for a long time, but it has been proved over many times that in a proper nuclear power technology, enormous amount of care had been taken, that there is no chance or 1 in million chance for any kind of nuclear plant getting exploded, producing damage to the surrounding. So, problem was not there, but the problem is, after all these reactions, there are some nuclear waste. Those nuclear waste should be properly disposed of. The nuclear waste, maybe you must have studied in your undergraduate, it will not just disappear, it will come slowly. Nuclear radiation die off very, very slowly, but it will keep on going for years together. How to escape from the damage that could be produced by nuclear waste? Only possibility is, they will take all the nuclear waste material in a big ship with all proper protection, usually made of lead box. They will put all them together and take it to somewhere in the Antarctica, somewhere to the deep sea, far away from human reach, either the North Pole or South Pole, and they will just drop it. Then the heavy metal will go to the bottom and stay there at the bottom of the sea, producing no harm or minimum harm to the animals which are going around those kind of water. It's all, the whole thing is undersea waste disposal. This is what is being done now. It is more or less safe. In spite of all this one, people are exploring the possibility of nuclear fusion process. Nuclear fusion means, remember, nuclear fission takes place only when there is a splitting of heavy atom like uranium or polonium or thorium into two more or less equal smaller atoms, equal nuclei. In nuclear fusion, we are on the other end of the spectrum. You have to bring two nuclei like hydrogen or isotope of hydrogen like a deuterium. What is this isotope of hydrogen? You know, hydrogen has one proton, one electron. That is the simplest atom in the whole universe. In some cases, hydrogen has an isotope. Isotope means in some hydrogen, in the nucleus there will be a one proton and one neutron. This is called a deuterium. This is rare. In still rarer cases, there is another kind of isotope of hydrogen which is called a tritium, in which you have one proton and two neutrons. What is important at this kind of discussion is, you can have water where you have normal hydrogen, two hydrogen combining together to form oxygen. Two hydrogen join with oxygen to form ordinary water, which we have plenty, and that is our self-sustaining liquid. The whole world wants water, live on water. We are all floating water, we live on water. In fact, our body contains 80% of our body is water. Next point, if you have a deuterium in the place of hydrogen, that is called heavy water. So, two heavy isotope of hydrogen combining with one oxygen gives you heavy water. Now, people thought if we could bring this heavy water, manage them, merge it together. When we say manage together, to merge together, it is not an electronic bonding, it is a nuclear integration. That is, the two nuclei of deuterium, imagine we strip off all the electrons. So, we are now going to straight into the nuclei. In deuterium, remove oxygen, remove all the electrons, everything. So, what we will finally end up with is a hydrogen with one proton and one neutron. That is all. This is the deuterium. That is all the starting point. Suppose you bring one more. So, I will have two deuterium. Suppose I bring them together, merge together, what would happen? I will have a new atom with two proton and two neutron. Then, instead of this one, suppose I take tritium, then I have one, if for hydrogen I have one proton, two neutron. Imagine I have another one proton, two neutron, bring them together, I would end up with helium with two proton and four neutron, two proton and four neutron. After some time, allow those two neutron escape. So, you will end up with helium with two proton and two neutron. That means you are able to fuse together two heavy hydrogen to produce another nuclei, which is called a helium nuclei. Now, this is called the fusion process. Now, how to make two hydrogen come together, fuse together, was a big question, is a big question, it is going to be a big question also, because so far we do not have the technology to make these to come together effectively. Watch the word effectively. People have tried thermonuclear fusion process. That means what has been scientists doing is put two deuterium together in a big glass box. Just you can imagine. I take a big glass box, I put them together, apply voltage, apply current, keep on doing this one. Then when you send a current, you will have ions. More current, more current, more current. After some time, you will have plenty of ions inside, plenty of ions inside. Not only that, high temperature also will be there, because you are sending current. At a very high temperature, all that you have to do is you put a magnetic field all around it. When you have a magnetic field all around it, you can compress together, bring all the ions together, nucleate together. Under this condition, you would be able to produce. Remember, it is not only the high temperature. When you have a high temperature, apply, I mean more and more current, that will produce high pressure also, Under high temperature and high pressure, nuclei will fuse together. Such a fusion is called thermonuclear fusion. Under that kind of thermonuclear fusion, you will get enormous energy released. Remember, you put in, let us say, 10 unit of energy, and if we can get 15 unit of energy output as a heat, then it is a very profitable business. We know by theory it is possible. What is the evidence? What is the evidence the idea will ever work at all? Fortunately, again, look up your sun. The sun is a star which has learnt this technology long ago. Who gave the technology? How it learned the technology, we don't know, but we are sure that sun is a very big thermonuclear reactor chamber. For all physicists, it is a star where for millions of years certain kind of nuclear reaction, fusion reaction, thermonuclear fusion reactions is taking place continuously, particularly in the core of the sun, the bowel of the sun, in the stomach of the sun, I must say. This keeps on taking place for millions of years together, and that is the reason it produces so much heat, and that is how we get sunlight and sun rays and heat wave. Everything that comes from the sun is due to thermonuclear reaction taking place within the bowels of the sun. Next question, is it possible by human beings to do a kind of thermonuclear generator within human condition, within human ability, human money, human investment? Then sun has already shown that it is a continuous process that keep on producing. Then in principle, on the surface of the world, we should be able to produce thermonuclear fusion process efficiently, because the raw material is hydrogen, deuterium, which is available in water, and water is there, 3/4 of the world is water. So, funny point is, you have plenty of raw material for thermonuclear fusion, but we don't know how to get it. That is where laser came into the picture, and let us see in the next subsequent talk how we are going to make use of lasers for this big, very dreamy project. Thank you very much.